All right, everybody, welcome back. Sam's Army. Well, we got an international break / mid match week 12 that we'll be previewing. We got a lot to talk about this episode, so let's get into it. We're going to start off, of course, with the U.S. men's national team. We just got done with let's call it a thrilling 4-2 win that put us through to the semifinals of the Nations League. We also will talk, we'll next move to halftime, where we got the weekly What If. Premier League, of course, get your mind right for the weekend ahead, and then stoppage time with Ivan Toney's best bets and everyone's favorite segment, GOAWs. Now, let's do a quick intro for our panel of beauties here. So, first up, we got Mr. Mitchell Goulet. So, quick little window into your brain over time, Mitch. Talk to me about your fascination with doors, or at least pictures of doors on your Instagram.
You're really tapping into my personal Instagram.
Oh,
now.
we gotta dig in here. We gotta dig in a little bit.
I like architecture, and I feel like everybody walks through doors all the time, so I take pictures of cool doors that I like. Sue me, you know. I have some criteria. They cannot be garage doors. They need to be human-sized doors, and that's about it. And yeah, I post door of the month on my personal Instagram. So follow me if you like doors.
I love it. It was so random that I just kind of wanted to hear what your explanation is. It's good. I'm sure there's a lot of fascinating doors out there. So anybody who is in the door world, Mitch.
Too. If you see good doors, send them my way.
There you go. Mikey Fowler, tell us about this penalty that has now been enshrined in history on Sam's Army Instagram. I think it was Nunu who threw it in there and sort of suggested it was Tommy taking the penalty. It was actually you for Babson College. So what's the backstory here?
Against Babson College.
That's right.
Yeah. No, Tommy hit it well. I think Tommy put that exactly where he wanted to, and must have been one of the 5 taken in the first championship his school had in a long time. I'm proud of Tommy. That's incredible work.
That is not the backstory at all.
Big underdogs at Babson my sophomore year. Coach said, "You go down the middle." I didn't want to, and he said, "Trust me," and I did it, and it worked. So I think that says a lot about what he thought my ego looked like at that stage of my life, that I would be willing to do that in a cup final. So yeah, good moment. Thank you, Nunu.
Cup final. I've never heard a conference championship in college referred to as a cup final.
It was a cup final at Wembley, I think.
Anyway, you made it. Listen, you made it. That's all that matters. Well done. Tyler, I'm gonna throw a weird one at you. It's not that weird, actually. Best movie you've seen all year.
Oh boy, it's limited because usually if I'm on a long plane ride, which happens a lot in my job, I typically am like rewatching something, or I'm just downloading episodes of a TV show I'm currently watching. Like the only 2 new movies that I've seen this year have been Deadpool and Wolverine and The Idea of You, the Anne Hathaway one that I watched on my way back from Portugal. I'm gonna give the nod to Anne Hathaway. She can still get it. I'm all in on that.
That was the tipping, the how you decided on which was the better movie. All right, fair enough. Listen, I think that actually did give us a window into your soul, which is what we're looking for. So now we'll move on to USMNT. All right, we already did a rapid reaction pod to the away leg in Kingston, or in Jamaica, the other last week. And so if you subscribe to the Patreon, you can get that anytime you want. Anybody who's not, now's the perfect time. Patreon's there. It's ready. Go get it. Only $3.99 a month. The cheapest chips. We want and need everybody to go support the pod there. But now we got this 4-2 win on home soil. So big win. I mean, I don't even know where to start. Like, I actually saw Greg Berhalter, Greggy B, in the stands out there to watch him. So I give him golf claps for showing up to that. But 4-2, we go through 4-3, 5-2 on aggregate. Tyler, where do you want to start?
I mean, that was as thorough of an attacking performance as I think we've seen from this group in a long, long time. Maybe that I don't want to get too dramatic, as I've said a couple of times over the past few episodes, but that was probably the best performance on the attacking side of the ball since Greg took over in 2018. I think there's a couple things that go into that. Obviously, the maturity of this team. When Greg took over, all these kids were babies. Everybody was 17, 18 years old. I mean, you go back to that Gold Cup in 2019. I mean, your core group was like sub 20 years old. So I think that has a lot to do with it. But I also think that the tactics implemented by Poch, sliding Anthony Robinson in, and by the way, he looked like a left-footed Alexander Arnold in the middle of the field.
Beautiful.
So good. So good. Yeah, that was a joy to watch. I had to double check exactly which game I was watching, but that was a lot of fun.
Now, so obviously we're going to talk about sort of the two different sides of the ball. The fact we gave up 2 goals, and you said multiple times it was one of the better performances offensively we've seen in a while. You know, there's another side of this that we will get into. But let's start with the starting 11 and maybe the formation and everything like that. I know, Tyler, you were a little confused when you first turned it on. Like, what am I watching here? Who's playing?
Well, I didn't see the lineup until, like, I didn't check my phone or anything. I was cooking dinner and the whole thing, so I didn't know what was going on until I flipped it on. I was like, "What on earth is fucking happening right now?" Like, Jedi is just camped out in the middle of the field.
We had a little inverted Jedi, which Tommy did. I think he was pressed last week a little bit if, Scally wasn't playing, and he did say
that was an answer. Yeah, that was an answer to me saying that I don't want to see Joe Scally anymore. And I think that my point was proven tonight, at least on the attacking side of the ball, because he was about 0 for 1,000 in terms of trying to complete some form of cross or pass in the final third. So great 1v1 defender.
Yes. All right. Mitch, what do you got to add to what Tyler said? You want to talk about the formation? You want to talk about the 11, or just go straight into the performance?
I'd first like to comment on the pitch and show just what a difference a proper football pitch makes in this team. You saw us like kind of moving the ball around like we intended to, instead of looking like we were playing on a municipal golf course. But no, the 11 was, I think it made the most sense for the people who were healthy and the players that we had in the camp. I want a second and just double down on, like, I love the inverted Jedi. He looked so free. He is one of our best ball carriers, despite being, normally a left back. I think if he can play in that role regularly, and then imagine Serginho Dest comes back and he's able to invert as well when needed, like, I really, really like what Poch is doing. And maybe I'm being optimistic, but this feels like just the beginning. Tactically, it feels like everybody's kind of on the same page, which has not felt that way for a very long time in this U.S. men's national team. And again, I'll double down and just say that, like, this was the most dominant attacking performance we've seen in quite some time. Missed some chances, for sure. You can chalk that up to, a slick surface. You can chalk that up to, you miss chances sometimes. But I think overall, the fluidity and the confidence that we played with in the final third, we have not seen that in a really long time.
Well, Mikey, what do you got to say for yourself? Are you thoroughly impressed?
Yeah, I was most focused on the formation and the way we built up and the partnerships that are going to start to establish. So, first of all, Robinson crossed the ball 0 times into the match, and I think that's because he's playing on a side with Weah, who likes to keep it stretched. And on the other side, you have Musa, who tucks inside, and Scally was able to get forward and had a few crosses himself. I like the progressive passing of McKinney and Tessman. I think that's something that we're going to have to play. They're going to have to be a very pivotal piece of playing for opposition. It's going to be a staple of home matches in CONCACAF under Poch, it seems, progressive passing. And I just think that the partnerships that are starting to unveil himself, building up with 3 in the back, with Scally tucking in and Robinson coming into midfield, is important. That keeps you a little bit more balanced than just exposing Ream for lack of pace on that side. I think that's important. And it seems to be, a possession-based, really progressive style, with McKinney kind of doing whatever he wants. You saw with the 2 assists. So whatever role is in that second holding midfield role alongside a guy who typically sits is going to have a lot of success in this system, while Robinson kind of gets to float around the opposite side. So promising stuff. I don't think it means a ton, but it's fun to see something unique coming out of the U.S. camp for the first time in a long time.
Yeah, I think it's worth pointing out here that this is a Jamaica side that wasn't at full strength.
Why is that?
There was a couple. There was a suspension. There was a red card or an injury, and then there were two guys who just lost their passport, which is the most CONCACAF thing in the history of the world. We're not beating the unserious allegations anytime soon. But that said, Tyler, you said it multiple times. This was a very impressive performance going forward. So how much of that are we giving to Poch? How much are we giving that to these guys are just sort of, as you said, 5 years older than when Mitch came, when Greggy B showed up? Is this what we should be expecting moving forward?
I don't know if it's a matter of expect this moving forward. I think a lot of that has to do with Poch, and I think he also probably has just instilled a lot of belief in these guys. I mean, at the end of the day, I think that what we saw tonight is him just sort of displaying a level of trust with these guys to just go figure it out, right? Because this was something that we haven't seen from them ever. You got guys coming from all over the world. You're coming off of a really difficult game on a municipal golf course. I love that analogy. And then you step in and you're able to play real football, and you're doing it with a Tim Weah who has not played under Mauricio Pochettino yet, in a competitive environment, and you're doing it with Anthony Robinson tucking in, and you're doing it with a 37-year-old Tim Ream, and you're doing it with, Ricardo Pepi, who's trying to sort of get that starting spot his own, which I think he probably has done. I still think that there are some parts of his game he needs to clean up. I think that there are some heavy touches and some moments that weren't necessarily graceful, but this was a huge amount of trust from Pochettino to just say, here's what it's going to look like in probably 1 or 2 training sessions, go out and execute in a competitive game at home where we need to close this out, which goes to show the maturity of this group, like you talked about, in terms of these guys just being a little older and a little wiser. And like finally, the experience of all these guys playing different positions with their respective clubs. When you think about how many positions Tim Weah has played, when you think about Weston McKennie, when you think about Yunus Musa, Anthony Robinson has been an out-and-out fullback, but even he's able to figure out because he's just a good footballer. These guys are athletes. They can figure it out. They've been playing the game for a long time, and they've been playing with each other for a long time now. So, I think that, for the Greg haters out there, I think we can confidently say that he laid building blocks and a foundation for Mauricio Pochettino to come in and just sort of give them a 400 level class in terms of what it means to, be a winning football side, not just a team who can theoretically, quote unquote, compete and get out of a group stage. Now this might look like a team that can string things together and string ideas together on the fly.
So, Mitch, is Pepi your starting 9 right now, if everybody's healthy?
If everybody's healthy, yes. Flo is going to take some time coming back to full match fitness, and I think he hasn't played under Poch, so Poch has only been able to see Pepi, Vasquez, and has he seen anybody else at the 9? Not sure, but yeah, I think Pepe's got it for me. I like the confidence that he showed not giving that ball to Christian as he was running through, but instead seeing that he had space and taking that himself. As mentioned, couple heavy touches, couple missed opportunities on the first time, but I think it's quantity. When you get the quantity that he does in that game, I think he's going to find a chance. And I do believe he's the best finisher, out and out finisher that we have at that position. And I like the form that he's in. He's got a goal every 70 minutes for PSV right now. He's usually coming on. He starts cup matches. He's playing in Europe. I like where he's at right now, and he's my 9 until further notice.
There was a lot of talk in the Discord chat about, would we prefer to have Pepi move somewhere and basically be a starting 9 and getting all the minutes, or do what he's doing now in a very comfortable situation, playing European soccer, and scoring, goals for fun. Obviously, that's a discussion that will probably continue for months, and we'll see what happens in January. Mikey, who helped their stock this window the most?
This is going to be an odd answer, but I think Yunus Musa.
Mm-hmm.
I like the idea that there's a guy on this team that can fill any hole in the system that Poch wants. There's got to be a workhorse in there. Think about all the good Poch teams, and what they really had was a few industrious players that filled the gaps for some of the guys who got to float, do a little bit more creative work. Musa at right midfield has been shown before by other coaches in this camp, and it hasn't worked really this well. And I think just the idea of him having very clear understanding of the role, and also just the idea that he is that talented. You know how I feel about Yunus Musa and how his quality and what it can bring to the side, but it feels like a guy that I would love for Poch to have him as a staple in all of the 11s. That would be something that I really, really look forward to seeing. So I think he played 180 minutes over the two, and I thought or somewhere, I don't know if he came off, but I thought he was very impactful when he played, and I think it's a good sign that he's able to do all those roles. I can see him playing the McKennie role or the Tessman role very well as well. So I'm impressed.
So I will throw this out to you guys as well, Tyler and Mitch, but I want to throw out there somebody who's helped their stock as Tessman. I thought he played very well in both games, and I just thought he looked classy out there. The dummy, which obviously, I don't know. I just anytime somebody makes a very intelligent dummy, especially in a game where it's like you want to impress, I want to get I want to score, and you let that go in the 18. That's a classy play right there. I really like that. And obviously he played well for the 180 minutes, or at least close to it. Tyler, what do you got?
No, I was going to, just to piggyback off that and off Mikey's point, like Tessman is going to be a role guy if he's going to have any sort of role on this team, right? He's going to have to do all the little things. I mean, defensively, look where he was. If you freeze frame some of that stuff when the U.S. is defending, he is literally like 2 yards in front of the back line protecting them. He is not allowed to go any further than that. His responsibility is simply to just clean up and sort of break up any sort of 1-2s or any check-in play from the opposing number 9. And then his job is to get off the ball as quickly as possible when we're on the ball. So, we talk about guys filling roles, and we know who the badass is. We know who the guy to break the game open is, and to create plays, and we know who our number 9 is, and Weston is going to be box to box and everything like that, and Tessman is sort of like just fitting into this. We got a question from the live stream, by the way. Do you think Poch has also set higher level of expectations? He's said that in a number of press conferences. He's basically just said, like, the expectation for this group has to be higher every single time we step out on the field. I think that's easy to say, and that's like sort of saying like we want to play an entertaining brand of football type deal. So I definitely think that's the case, and he's been pretty clear about that. And then our producer Nunu asked a good question: would Jedi make the England squad? Depends on how many players are sitting out and pulling out due to fatigue.
Yeah,
probably
this window, he certainly would.
Yeah.
Yes. So Scally, I saw somebody gave Scally a thumbs down in the chat. Mitch, anybody else you want to say who had or highlight who has helped their stock, or should we just sort of fluff Christian Pulisic and his balls a little bit here?
We can hold off on his ball fluffing. I just want to kind of raise the question of what does this Tessman back-to-back performances mean when Adams and Reina get back into the squad and fully healthy? What does that midfield look like? Because I can see it looking drastically different based on opponent and based on what we need out of the game. But I also acknowledge that a consistent 3 in the midfield is so much better for just build-up play in general. So, I don't want to take away from what Tessman has done in this window. He was pivotal to both of those games, and I really like his stock. I don't want to say Mark McKenzie's stock rose because I don't think it was in a position to fall. It was pretty low to begin with, but I think he overperformed his counterpart Tim Ream in this one. The center back pairing has me a little nervous. I don't know what our best 2 back there looks like. And you could look at that optimistically and say that, like, we have endless amount of possibilities with Chris Richards healthy and maybe Austin Trusty healthy as well. But I don't have a confident 2 back there. So those are my thoughts on stock rising. Let's get to Fluff and Captain America.
That left center back role is going to be so important if Robinson's tucking in like that.
Yes.
That's where the space is going to be.
Yes.
So that's
you would prefer Tim Ream to be right-footed and on the other side of the field, and you would prefer whoever's going to be on that side to be a little bit more spry and not 37 years old. In an ideal world.
Got all the traits you don't want there.
Yeah.
I mean, have we reached the point now that if Ream isn't going to be a World Cup center back for you, is it time to move on? Like,
it's too late. It's too late for that. He is a World Cup center back at this point.
Really? I don't know about that.
This is
Why else would
2024 though.
Why? But hold on a second. Why else would we be? How many competitive games does the U.S. have left before the World Cup?
Not that many, but that's just sort of a figment of how this is working with us being host and everything. That's just, that's how this works. He's going to play a lot of competitive games in MLS, and his competitors, his rivals for the center back spot, they're going to have plenty of competitive games as well. I mean, we're like, 20 months away still? Like, this is...
If the plan from Pochettino was to have somebody other than Tim Ream be the center backs for 2026, we would have already seen them playing. Now is the perfect time to do that. I still think he's waiting for the likes of Trusty, McKenzie, Richards, Robinson to prove that they're better than Tim Ream. I think that right now Tim is the best option that we have at that position, and he's begging somebody to take it away from him. I think it's as simple as that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have some sort of genius answer here. I think it's, as one of you guys already said, this is the question mark, the big question mark coming out of this camp for me is like, okay, well, who's our center back? And if Tim Ream is part of that duo, are we confident about that? Because I'm not. I'm just not. I don't like the way that feels, having a 37 or 38-year-old as your top two when the World Cup is still 2 years away. Anyway, anything else on the result, the performance, what it means? I mean, I'm just...
Brandon Vasquez needs to score a goal. The amount of chances that he's had over the couple of appearances he's made, like, and
he's got to put a shot on target. That, like, you just bottom line, you got to put a shot on target. That was unfortunate because he does a lot of other things really well, and he's a big boy, and like he's just... It feels like him and Haji Wright are kind of like the same person. Haji scores goals though, when he's gotten out there for us, and Brendan Vasquez is not putting those shots on target. Anything else? Oh, defense. Oh, we already talked about whatever. The fact we gave up 2 goals in this game has me a little nervous. But we've already talked about the fact that the center back pairing.
I'd prefer giving up 2 goals and winning that game the way that we won it, and being able to work on some of those things than to have won that game 1 or 2-0 and to look flat and listless in the attacking third. Like 10 times out of 10.
Yeah. Yep. The one thing that I did want to point out, and I loved, is the fact that we scored a goal and we didn't like shut off, or we didn't immediately sort of, put up a defensive front and fall back. Like, we were still on the front foot and going forward, and we did that for the whole first half, and got 3 goals. We could have had more. Like, that felt really nice. That felt
Greg
really,
has given
really
us
nice.
Collective PTSD from going up 1-0 and immediately packing it in. Now we're living
How many
lavish.
times do we do that? How many times do we do it? It was just every goddamn game. Okay. I guess we'll leave it there for now.
Yep.
We got a long wait. Until we talk about this again.
Mikey's thrilled.
Watch Mikey's happiness. All right, we'll leave it there. We won. We move on. Pochettino, in Poch we trust. I don't think there's anything else to say at this point. Halftime. Weekly What If is... This is also, well, you guys will realize where this came from. Let's say, just hypothetically, FIFA replaced the current VAR system where everything is looked at. There's an eye in the sky, and they got VAR officials checking everything. They changed that, traded out with a new system where coaches get a limited number of challenges. So obviously this is coming from the fact that FIFA okayed a test of this in certain competitions. How would that change things? And would it be a net positive or net negative? Mikey, I know you got some thoughts.
As content people or as fans of the sport? Because there's nothing funnier to me than the idea of Sean Deitch burning his challenge on an early throw-in decision in like the 11th minute. Like, nothing makes me more excited.
Foul throw.
Nothing in the world gets me more happy than giving the opportunity to people who that I find funny to do things that are very funny. So I can picture Mourinho wagging his finger after a goal goes in, throwing the flag or something. Like, that's, to me, very funny and interesting. But this is the worst fucking idea I've ever heard in my life. Like, No, absolutely not.
Now, I get it, but I do love the benefit of you not having to necessarily worry about goals and the fact that they're going to be overturned and everything. Like, that is the worst thing about VAR right now, and it was the best thing about soccer. So there is a element that if you get a couple challenges, say you get 2 or 3. Well, number one, if you're an
2
idiot,
or 3.
well, that's on you. I think that's what it was. I think that's what they're talking about. Like NFL. That's what they do in NFL, right? You get like 2 challenges. If you get the first one right, you can do another one.
Yeah. And how long do each of those take and add on to the game? Imagine 2 or 3 more VAR checks. Because if you are a coach and you're challenging a play, are you not challenging the most consequential plays in the game, which are goals?
Well, no, but I would have to imagine that this is going to be similar to NFL, where all scoring plays are reviewed.
Right. That was my thought too.
Yeah.
So the plays that are under review would be corners/goal kick decisions, fouls. Is that reviewable?
Red
Definitely.
cards.
It would definitely be fouls.
Throw-in decisions.
Handballs in the box.
Delay
probably.
of game.
Oh, yeah, because you have people tapping the ball away.
Really, or how about those ones where the referee keeps their flag down to see the play unfold, not really sure if it's offside, but then it goes off the defender and ends up being a corner kick. I'd want to review that play and show me that it's offside so that the corner kick doesn't happen, because we've seen a lot of those goals scored from those ensuing free kicks.
I just think with each stoppage we introduce, in the interest of getting every single call picture perfect, we take away from the flow and the beauty of the game.
This is not going to help. It's going to add more confusion.
Right. It's not going to help. It is going to make for a re-refereed game, which is what VAR is already doing, and we already have issues with. So, I mean, do people see this as like getting up the correct percentage of calls made?
No.
Is that a net positive, or would you rather just have a free-flowing, entertaining 90 minutes of football?
Do we know anymore?
I've lost
the
thread on all that.
They're trying it out in lower divisions, aren't they?
Yes. In certain competitions and tournaments, yeah.
By the way, Tommy is active in the Discord, or at least was several minutes after we went live, and did not elect to participate in this podcast.
He's at dinner, so he's on the Discord at dinner, which is making it.
Yeah.
Let's give him bonus points for
I was asked Tommy. I don't know whether to be mad or proud of him for the fact that he's at least contributing something.
All right, we'll leave it at that. I mean, listen, I like that they're trying it out. I have my doubts about the fact that it would be implementable and viable in a soccer situation. We'll move on to Premier League. All right, Mikey, get your put your boner away. We got the Premier League coming back. No more international breaks for God knows how long. And we were looking at some interesting games coming up this weekend. So as a quick reminder, just to give you, set the table here, Liverpool is now top of the table. And not just top of the table, they're top of the table by 5 points. Whew. Man City, Chelsea, Arsenal round out the top 4. Nottingham Forest, who just took a heavy loss to Newcastle, is actually still in 5th place, followed by Brighton, Fulham, Newcastle, Aston Villa, and Tottenham. So some of the games we're looking at this weekend, the highest profile, probably Manchester City, playing their old bugaboo nemesis, Tottenham Hotspur, coming off of a home loss to Ipswich, it's worth pointing out. Arsenal facing at home, they got Nottingham Forest, the up-and-comers, heavy hitters, coming to London. Also some other games. But Tyler, why don't you go first? What game strikes your fancy this weekend?
Arsenal Forest. I think Forest are going to have something to prove, especially coming off of a game in which they were leading 1-0 against Newcastle, and all this hype about being in 3rd place and everything like that. Don't need to talk about what Arsenal need to prove, that they are maybe Champions League worthy, let alone title contenders. And you're going to have to do that without your boy Trossard after another injury during the international break. So very excited to see what that's going to yield.
Level of nervousness there, Mikey?
6.
Yeah.
Seems about right. Yeah.
Okay.
It's not just Trossard. It's Ben White. It's Calafiori. It's Tomiyasu. Who are we starting outside?
He was just another addition.
Right. He was the latest in the series, but it's above average nervous level.
Okay. Sounds like you might be a little higher than
you feel
6.
like this feels right for the picking. Like I'm almost tempted to throw some shekels down on this.
Well, upset alert. I wonder what the odds are. You probably get a nice little.
I don't think it would be as good. I don't think it would be as good as you think it would be. Forest are a Champions League contender. This is not some sort of pushover. This isn't your grandmother's Nottingham Forest, or actually, it might be.
I was going to say this is your grandmother's.
Yeah, this is your grandmother's Forest.
I'm still looking up the odds. My book is slow. Okay, Mitch, what game? I guess you could regurgitate Arsenal Nottingham Forest. Is there any other games that stand out here?
Yeah, I'd like you guys to put in your annual performance at the Etihad, if you fancy. I realize you guys are not in a position form-wise to do so, but something about this fixture every season you guys come to play. And City there's nobody that needed that international break more than Man City did. Seriously. I mean, we needed it, but good Lord, they look bad. Pep will come out with something to prove because he has never, correct me if I'm wrong, never lost 4 games in a row in his managerial career. Just a
He's already done that. So this would be 5. This would be 5,
right? Meaning he would, he's coming off of that first in a career, and he's got something to prove now. I really looking for a point.
By the way, just to close the loop on Nottingham Forest, plus 750.
Wow.
Yeah. In regulation. I mean, there is only regulation, but plus.
I know we're home, but that is still juicy. God.
Plus 750.
Is this game 1 of the best of 3 series? Or
Okay, all right. Listen, I don't think that Tottenham can win this game. I just don't think that we're in a position
Love this
to
reverse jinx. Keep going.
No, I'm not trying to pull that. That's not it. I really did. We beat City a couple weeks ago. That was a kind of a weakened City. They arguably weren't necessarily, giving it their all. I just think that Erling Haaland just scored 1 billion goals again this international break. We just lost to Ipswich. This is not actually reverse jinx. I just don't think that we're. I mean, I do say this all the time, and then we end up, doing what we do against City. But I don't know. Yeah. This doesn't feel like.
Nunu said he'll match any Forest bet. By the way, that's a dangerous game to ride with whatever comes out of my mouth, particularly this late at night.
Now, is he matching or is he booking?
I don't know.
All right, Mikey. What game stands out for you?
Listen, we're obviously not going to spend too much time on the City Tottenham and the Arsenal Forest, but I think this is a really interesting spot for Brighton. I think they've been flirting with the cusp of being taken seriously this season. If you look at the table, the metrics are good. They've got good young players. Away to Bournemouth is a test, especially with the way Bournemouth has been playing. I think this is a very good neutral game. I think this is going to be pretty open. And it's going to tell you a lot about two sides that I think are very surprising. There's not a lot to separate them, 4 points, but in the table, that's worth 6 spots at this point. So 2 real good mid-table sides. One could be slightly on the cusp of European to mid-table, and we'll see if that's the case this week. It's an interesting one. I'm firmly going to be watching Arsenal, but I'm excited to keep up with that game. I think it's going to be 3-2 or 3-3.
I was going to say, in terms of entertainment value, that's got to be like near the top of the list. Game. Yeah.
Semenyo is going to score for sure.
Anything else? Are we keeping it nice, short and sweet here?
Nice and tight, baby.
Keeping it tight. All right. Any changes anybody's making on the FPL front here coming out of the international break?
But I'm not telling you.
I can't make another move for the rest of the season, or else whatever I want to happen, the opposite. I can't do anything. I'm paralyzed. Can't make a move. Can't make a move.
That's a tough spot to be in. Are you still at the bottom of the table?
Oh yeah.
Have you pulled the trigger on like your wild card?
I don't even know what a wild card is.
Oh,
Nobody help him.
watch a single YouTube video. I'm begging you. You can turn the season around.
Now,
It is not too late.
now you sound like you're talking to Sam. When
No,
we're
I
talking
love it.
about the technology. I hate it. I hate it.
There's still time for
my
you.
world.
There's no time
By
for
the
Sam.
way-
There's still time for you.
The people need to understand the level of animosity and pent up aggression towards Sam that has been building up over the past several weeks since we've been starting to build this whole thing out. It is palpable. And it's palpable to the point where Sam then starts to get frustrated with you guys for getting frustrated with him. And then he texts me on the side. And then lo and behold, I feel like I'm in another scenario where it's like my divorced parents where both of them are texting each other. And I'm just like, I don't need another version of this in my life. But it is you can cut it with a knife. It is wild.
We're getting a lot of therapy sessions here, all sort of overlapping and coming out. Well, listen. First of all, I love all you guys. I get frustrated sometimes.
Your butt cheeks are so tight right now, Sam. I can see you clenching over there.
No, listen. I love all you guys. You guys are the best. Even when I was sort of flipping out in Mexico because I couldn't watch the goddamn US-Mexico game at first, and you guys are laughing at me for not being able to find an illegal stream. I was
On your phone.
on my phone. On my phone. It was that I almost lost it, but then I figured out, okay, I'll just call my friend and he'll FaceTime the TV, and it was perfect. It was great. You just got to find a way through things. Okay, so we'll move on to stoppage time. We're gonna keep it nice and quick, nice and tight here. So I will actually let somebody else go with best bets quickly before we get to the overtrain, because I got some big news on the overtrain front. Has anybody got I actually really liked Mikey's call, which might be part of the overtrain. But Mikey, do you want to go first on what we're making money on this weekend?
Yeah. Listen, I'm gonna ladder, and it's gonna be Holland. I think there's a chance he puts 3 in.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of reasons I'm doing this. One, if he doesn't, then City may have dropped points. And if he does, then it's going to be, if City does win, it's definitely going to be him, and it's going to be devastating. So I'm going to ladder him 1, 2, and 3 all the way up.
Not even 4? Just a little sprinkle on 4?
3. Just 3.
Okay. All right. Keep it conservative.
I think you guys are going to be very open. I think Arch is going to play in the midfield. It's going to be a problem.
Yeah, I can see several problems coming our way this weekend. All right.
Mickey playing?
I don't think so, but I haven't heard confirmation on that. Let me see.
It's going to be a problem.
If he's not, I'm going
FPL
Holland.
says hamstring 50% chance.
Yeah, they say late November. So we're right in that area right now. Bentancur, who's actually been one of our better players lately, he's suspended for the red card.
Nope.
No, he's suspended for his
for the naughty language. But yeah, we haven't even really talked about the fact that he's got all these games suspension when
7, and they're all Premier League. He can't serve them in Europa League or anywhere else. They're all FA. Yeah,
that is insane. When all what was the Chelsea Enzo was Enzo? He's skating on that.
No, it was something about. It was the trading jerseys thing. And it was like, oh, you can trade it with Sunnies. And then he said something about, oh, they all
look he said that on TV.
So it was because it was on TV rather than like, because, Enzo and like the Argentina
There's a larger case. There's a larger case being built on the Argentinian front.
All right. Well, we'll see about that. Okay. Who's your best bet there, Tyler?
You already know. Forest, money line, book it.
Plus 750. Couple shekels coming your way. Okay. Mitchell?
Ballsy.
What do you
got? My book's down right now, but I have some fun ones. These are all on Saturday. So you're going to take Victor Boniface to score against Heidenheim. You're going to take both teams to score in Milan Juve. And then you're going to take El Tren, Ricardo Pepi, to score against his former team, Groningen. Put all those together. Again, my book's down. I have no idea what the odds are. You're probably looking at something around plus 600-700.
I like that a lot.
Boniface rocks.
Boniface he's baller.
I've been seeing more content too. He's just a really funny guy. I like Boniface a lot.
Yeah.
All right. We'll move on to. Well, actually, no. Overtrain time. So I'm not going to toot my own horn. I'm not going. Wait. I am going to put my hat on though.
We almost got away with it.
Yeah.
Almost. Not quite. So, overtrained five-a-side last week. We know this all comes with a little caveat here, an asterisk of international break. Well, your boy came up kind of good. 5-0 last week. 5-0. I didn't see that coming. I was hoping for a 3-2. No, 5-0. We are cooking with gas here. So you know we're hot. We know we're going to make some more money because now we got actually some games to pick, at least on the weekend. Wednesday and Thursday, pickings are slim, let me tell you. But I found some good ones. Hear me out. On Wednesday, we're going to the Chile, the Cup final. Universidad de Chile is hosting Nublense. Then on Thursday, we got Jeonnam Dragons versus Busan E Park. That's the K-League 2 semifinal. Friday, we're going to the Women's A-League. Not the A-League, Women's A-League. Central Coast Mariners hosting Melbourne Victory. That is an absolute easy win. Saturday, Mikey already called it out. Bournemouth hosting Brighton. I mean, that's probably got 6 goals in it, minimum. And then finally, we're going to round it out in the second division of Denmark, where Hillerud is hosting Esbjerg. Oh, I already feel good about this week. I feel even better about this week than I felt about last week. And last week we were 5-0. So take that in consideration when you're deciding how many units. But wager responsibly. All right. Go is time. Who wants to start off with everybody's favorite segment? I think we're going Tyler. What do you got for us?
So Lyon, as we talked about, provisionally relegated to Ligue 2. But it's a little bit more nuanced than your average sort of association coming down on a team for not spending appropriately. So the American owner who has this team, who also I believe is invested in Crystal Palace as well as Botafogo. So they're in the whole 750 million. 550 million. And the quote from Textor coming out of it was, we are not worried about our current process and we are financially viable for the team that is in the whole 550 million. So he is my GOAT for that reason and that reason alone. And the only reason that they might be able to not get relegated is that if they can show that they're taking steps towards having a more sustainable model. Basically, like if you were an alcoholic and you were like able to get your keys back after a DUI, if you were showing steps that you no longer were drinking type thing, like if that was sort of like, I guess if I could compare it to that. So Textor, the American owner, I mean, to come out with that quote after your 550 million in the hole is phenomenal. Good for him.
It's there's definitely something does not smell right with his whole situation there. You know, it sounds like they're taking money out of one club and sort of putting it towards another, and like a whole shell game. I don't know. And he was trying to buy Everton, by the way.
Good luck.
Oh well. All right, Mitchell, what do you got for us?
Yeah, I got more of a concept, and that is badge redesigns. I have never seen a less necessary badge redesign than your precious Tottenham Hotspur. Removing the text and shifting the dimensions of it slightly, I believe. Maybe they shifted the color, the hex code one to the left or something. I don't know. But I will never understand the reasoning. And you know that takes hours and hours of meetings and design team and brainstorming just to remove some text. And then the Ajax one as well is a curious one. They regressed back to one of their old badges. It's funny that both of these clubs did this in the middle of the season as well. This feels like an off-season thing to me, but I kind of blanket don't like badge redesigns. I don't like change. It's scary, and I don't see a need for it. So they inspire a weird emotion in me that I can't quite describe. So for that reason, badge redesigns are my goal this week.
For the Tottenham one, it's like I can't even be bothered to care. It's like, okay, you got rid of some text.
Are you kidding? That was awesome.
that was mind-boggling graphic design.
Levy has his fingerprints all over that.
That was so sick what you guys were able to do with that logo.
I thought the Ajax one was actually more interesting. The fact that, you know, there's been sort of this trend towards minimalism, right, and sort of making things simple, and they went in a complete polar opposite direction. Maybe they're just trendsetters, but I thought that was interesting. Whether it's good or bad, I don't know. If you're going to change, at least they went to something old. So at least there's some history there, and I kind of like that element.
Right, but that's not even changing. That's just going back. That's
Yeah, I don't know.
Sometimes to
I'm
go
just trying to
forward.
throw him a bone here.
deep. Deep.
All right, GOAWs time. Who's left? I think Mikey.
Yeah, I got actually a good one this week. It's a referee. It's Danny Macaulay, usually referees in the Netherlands. He was in charge of Romania and Kosovo's UEFA Nations League match that happened midweek. I don't know if you've all seen this, but uh, Kosovo needed a 3-0 victory to advance in Romania. With the score tied 0-0 in the 90th minute, Kosovo stormed off, claiming whatever. I think they were claiming they were being racially abused or did not see the match fit to continue. They did so because a few weeks prior, hang on, I'm putting it up. When Albania walked off the pitch in Serbia, UEFA didn't give them the win, but they were overruled as there was not a clear and direct unconditional order that had been issued for the match to continue. They were awarded a 3-0 win. So Kosovo, which I take no fault, by the way, if you tell me there's a 0.001% of whatever to get through on this stupid technicality, you have to try. That's why the go is Danny Macaulay, who did his homework, knew what was coming, had the teams come back on the pitch, blew the final whistle, and officially signaled the end of it, therefore not allowing the overruling to happen as it did a few weeks prior. So got to give credit where credit's due. He knew what the Kosovo team were trying to do. Sneaky boy little move. Don't hate it, but it was sniffed out and successfully so. So it's one of the reasons why international football is just so great. Why we all love it so much is because shit like this.
You brought that up. That was going to be my honorable mention. You did probably a better job, more articulate job of explaining why Kosovo tried to do what they did. So yes, good shout there. I'll use my quick honorable mention to just give it to the USL because I don't know what's going on. Like I'm a huge fan of what what they're trying to do, but it's this offseason has not gotten off to a good start with the sort of teams not being paid, teams being moved from Memphis to Santa Barbara in the championship. It's these are the types of things that we really wanted to get away from in the lower levels of soccer. I know that's really difficult to do, but yeah, this offseason has not gotten off to a good start for a league that I think has done, in general, a very good job of moving us forward. So we'll see how this goes, but not good news on that front. My actual GOA is going to go to Javier Aguirre because he got domed, absolutely
wore it like a champ,
domed by a full can of, I'm assuming beer, but perhaps something else, and he didn't even flinch. This is coming out. This is after the first leg of the Mexico-Honduras Nations League quarterfinal. So Mexico went down to Honduras, lost 2-0. Tough start for nuestros muchachos. But after the game, I did see that there might have been some things. Aguirre may have thrown some birds at the fans. I'm not exactly sure of what had happened. But after the game, all I saw was a clip where he went over to the bench, grabbed his coat, was walking over to shake hands with the opposing manager, and just got absolutely doinked right in the middle of the head by a full can of whatever. And he did not flinch. He did not deviate from his path. He just went over and shook the guy's hand, and then everybody's like, "Yo, bro, you're leaking oil up there," and not just a little bit. It was like it was coming down the side of his face. So I assume that's a Honduras fan. I assume it's not a Mexican fan who was mad at him. I assume it was a Honduras fan. CONCACAF have to step in. This is just getting out of hand with the missiles being thrown and everything like that. Like we're past the point of, they have the technology. I know everybody's like, this CONCACAF, they can't even get, they can't even make sure that, you have VAR working or the pitches are as bad as they are. You can't expect them to use technology to find, somebody in the crowd. I think they actually can if they wanted to. And the time has come. Like this is beyond nonsensical at this point. But go up for the week, Javier Aguirre. You wore that one, my friend, and didn't work out in the game, but they also have a league or a second home leg coming up, I believe, tomorrow night. All right. There we go. Everybody, Tyler, Mikey, Mitchell, Tommy in the Discord. You guys are beautiful. Love you as always. Everybody who showed up on the chat, by the way, Sam, Anthony. I'm going through really quick, so I'm going to miss some people. But Riley, Derek, what? Why you guys giving me the universal
you
no?
gonna read everybody's name every week?
Oh, it's just like 5 people. It's like 8 people. I don't know. It's just
Exactly.
all right, whatever. Well, thank you guys for hopping on the chat. Anybody who watched it live, we love you guys. If you haven't subscribed to the Patreon, please do so. We'll keep it there. We'll leave it at that. See you guys next week.
Name.
Listen, I'm bad at reading. Anyway, we'll be back next week. Bigger, better, faster, stronger. Love you guys. See you guys then.